Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much those of you who've spoken with me in person here and around the world to say how much you enjoy watching my YouTube videos. Please know that it means so much to me, and I'm so glad that you find them to be helpful and informative and maybe a little bit cheeky or amusing. That's always makes me feel so good. Today we have episode 2 of our new collab series, The Struggle is Real. And last week we talked about the roll-up, and I will include the information to The Struggle is Real, the roll-up, in the info box below. And today we're going to look at The Struggle is Real in the stomach massage series. And in a moment I'm going to do all of the exercises in the stomach massage series, but often this exercise is much maligned, often left out, not a really popular exercise, especially with people learning it for the first time, and that nobody likes the name. So you don't really even have to tell people the name of it. You can just set it up, tell them to sit and put their feet here, and then no one can complain about the name of it. So we'll look at kind of what's going on in the body or what's not going on in the body that makes this exercise challenging or hard for certain individuals, and some strategies that you can use to help people along to love this exercise as much as I do, and hopefully soon you will as well. So here we go. I have 4 springs on. I'm going to put this pad in place, and then here are the various parts of the stomach massage. So you have part 1, part 2, part 3, and part 4. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. This position, based on the person that's in front of you or yourself, is quite a compact position. So it wants the body to be in this position, like kind of like a sitting up squat. And often, depending on what kind of body you have in front of you, that may or may not happen. Often there's tightness here, and there's tightness all along the back of the leg, the back of the entire body. And so that's going to make people, initially when they sit in it, maybe look a little bad. And for a while, as long as there's no pain, they're not in danger, they may look bad. If you have a really stiff, big guy, it's not going to look great for a while. And the part where you reach your heels down may not really go anywhere, and that's perfectly fine. And if people are extremely tight, although I've not really seen it to that degree, you know, that's the part that you want to encourage. So I would not, even if it doesn't look like much is happening, keep it in there, because they need to learn the exercise as it is, and then it'll get better and better over time. So let's look at part 1. And give you some options for that person that, you know, the position is just kind of impossible for them. This supposes that you are noticing all these things that happen in the stomach massage with your person, and then addressing the tightness of this, the tightness of this elsewhere in their workout. And perhaps here somewhat, but often other places more efficiently. So first option, depending on who they are, unless they're giant, they can just sit back a little bit, so that when they push out, they're not immediately leaning back, but they are sitting back enough that they can feel all of this to help them sit up in the exercise. That's going to go a long way to helping them be successful in the rest of the exercise if they feel like they can utilize their center to lift themselves up. And you know, they might have to sit back pretty far to not be like this, and that's okay. As you notice it's getting better over time, you might be able to move them forward. And we all kind of learned it where, you know, the goal, let's say, was to sit way over here, you know, and that may be a goal, but don't consider it to be the goal for every person that and every day. I mean, that might be a goal for someone eventually, but maybe not right now. And so that's kind of the pitfall, I think, of that first position. And depending on who they are, the size of the person, you might see that on 4 springs, maybe they get pushed around and they can't sit up because the spring is a lot. And so maybe see what it looks like on 3 springs. Maybe they have better control with just a little bit less of a spring. And then you can use 3 springs for this position and the second position. So the second position, often there are some pitfalls here too, depending on how much lift the person had in this and how much range of motion they have in their chest and shoulders in this. It's no accident that the shoulder rests are higher than the carriage. It's meant to encourage you to be able to lift this. So your hands on here are not to hold yourself up with and push with your arms. They are to lift up your body away from, so that it's almost like you're trying to be taller than the shoulder rests. And this position is what you're hoping for. This is a position if the previous one doesn't feel good. And in some cases, this can also be used, provided that, you know, they're more apt to push like this. I would say even if it looks bad, but this is not painful, they'll get the idea that they have to lift up. See what you think. And while we're on this second position, I should mention that sometimes there might be someone that is really, really stiff, and when they first sit on for this exercise, you know, they're way back here and they can't reach. And so for that person, they may be fine to do this and sit up. So they can do this one and just leave the first one out. And then maybe sometime when they've done this one for a little while, they might notice that they can then reach here pretty easily. And so if they have to do that second one first for a little while and then do this one, but they can, you know, rather than leave it out, just put it after, and then one day decide, oh, let's see if you can do the first one first. And so that way you don't skip anything that they could be, you know, benefiting from, and then eventually you'll put it where it goes. And again, that's really just for someone who might be super stiff, maybe. And then let's look at part 3. Oh yes, still need that pad. So part 3. And this is really kind of the money note, shall we say, what all the other ones are leading up to. And this is really the skill that you're building the most in this exercise. The ability to lift up the waistline like you could reach the low back all the way to your fingertips. And this skill you're going to see repeated over and over and over in the method. And so they might be able to feel like without that other part where they lower their heels, they get a little bit of an ability to lift up themselves and slowly lift and bring the carriage in. And that's really the benefit of the stomach massage. It's really the first kind of distilled down reaching exercise because with support. Because then you're gonna get to the short box and you have to do it, but you don't, you're just you up on the short box. And so all of the things that you're working on, you could really distill down to that one moment of let's see if you can lift yourself from here, sitting up. And you know, the lower body may look bad, but if they're getting that benefit of the exercise, then you can work in other places in the system to fix the rest. And which brings me to my next pitfall in the body for this exercise, is that by the end of the series, people are like, oh my God, my hips, oh my God, that's a killer exercise. This is not an exercise for your hip flexors, and you're encouraged to find the lift of this and the push of your bottom so that it actually can help decompress the hips. Sometimes the footwork exercise lying down and the stomach massage series sitting up is not the best place to work on finding your seat. I mean, you can find a little bit of moments to work on that maybe, but the best place may be elsewhere. And one place that works really well is to do either on the high chair, the pumping, which is like a seated footwork, or on the one-to chair if you don't have a high chair, same exercise, seated footwork. A little bit harder on the one-to chair. There's actually a lovely video that Lesley made on how to make your one-to chair like a high chair. And so I will include that in the info box below as well. And those exercises are really great because you're sitting up and you can more efficiently find your seat in that position. I think just something to do with the different relationship to gravity. And that way you can kind of learn it there and bring it here to the reformer. And if that sounds confusing, if anyone would like to see a video about using the chair exercises to perfect your footwork and your stomach massage on the reformer, do leave me a comment below and let me know. I'm happy to do that. And I really love the stomach massage exercise. Oh, we didn't talk about the twist. So the twist is kind of like the cherry on top, I think, because you've done all your work. So let me just start at the beginning. So you've done your opening up and lifting of the back. And this is a huge lift of the low back and an opening of the low back. It's not really a crunchy, rounding sort of position. And then you have this one where you're sitting up nice and tall. And then the last one where you're kind of really developing the lift and the reach of the sides of your body. And then you're going to make the lower body like a machine and add this embellishment. Now the waistline is opening and broadening, and your waistline is still reaching to each of your hands, giving you a nice twist, while the feet reach down into the bar. And this is really one of my favorite exercises suddenly. So one more thing to talk about. There's a lot of goodness to mine out of this system. Of this series. And the other complaint that I had for many years, and maybe you have it too, is that often during the stomach massage, the pants come off. And I actually have a video about that I'll include in the info box below. It's on Pilatesology, and it's called How to Keep Your Pants On in the Stomach Massage series. But I'll just mention, if you're using all the things you should be using, your bottom, your stomach, that's very cavalier sounding, I know, just use your stomach, your pants will stay on. But it's a little more complicated than that. So if you push the bar with your legs, you push yourself right out of your pants. But if you're pushing with the things that you're sitting on in your center and your trunk, then you'll keep the same spot, you won't get pushed backward, and your pants won't come off. This does preclude any kind of pants idiosyncrasies, loose pants, slippery pants, too many pairs of pants, that sort of thing. But in general, if you can really feel like your stomach and your bottom can work, and almost like your, the main culprit for that is number 2. So when you get back here, and you want to feel like if you can really kind of stay where you are and push, almost like you're pushing the bar away with everything, not just pushing your legs in the bar, because then I get kind of moved backward, you can see. But I guess if you push with everything, like you're pushing the bar away, then I feel a lot of engagement here and here. So, keeping your pants on. And then let's do one other delicious embellishment that we all really dearly need and I always forget to do. So you've done your 1, you've done your 2, and your 3, and also your twist. And then you can do this wonderful, horrible little thing. So I'm going to start with 2. I'm going to get a running start. So I'm going to do a few of 2. And then I'm going to number 3. And now I'm taking my twist. And now keep the push on the bar, lift your waistline, and you're gonna do 3 little circles or 5 little circles, sitting up, really trying to lift your back to your hands, lift your waist, reach your arms out to the side. You're doing the same thing. And then you're gonna lift your waistline and lift your hands all the way up to the ceiling, step off without your hands. So that's a really nice challenging embellishment that you can do for people like me that are sinky. You know, if someone is already killed by the twisting part and that's new, you know, this is an embellishment for a greater challenge for someone who's very proficient in the exercise. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about other elements of the stomach massage series that perhaps I didn't mention, do leave me a comment. I'm happy to answer your questions. And thank you so much for watching. I'm just trying to think of anything that I might have forgotten. Well, at least we talked about keeping your pants on. I think that's important. Thank you so much. Bye. Her main job here is to keep her back absolutely glued onto the back of this very unforgiving piece of wood. And this is a great exercise. It never disappoints, no matter if you're a new Pilates student learning how to find your center or a really experienced one. It's never easy. So she's gonna basically pump